Stop making this huge mistake when it comes to your under eye coverage. First thing you want to do is make sure that you moisturize your under eyes and keep it incredibly hydrated. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people do is they go in with a brightening concealer. You can see this concealer has incredible pigment in it, and it is very light and very bright. You would think that it would cover and it would give me the brightness, but it's actually really not doing any of that. Now, the biggest issue is that the concealer is just way too light for my skin tone to be the first color that I apply to my skin, because when we look from really close up, you can still see the darkness that is peeking through. So now you're like, Mary, I went in with a heavy coverage concealer and a bright one. What do I do instead? Well, on the other side, I'm going to demo the same exact product, just 2 shades darker. So it's the same coverage, just a different shade. And if you notice that it has a little bit of a peachy undertone to it, I'm going to use this shade to my advantage, almost like a color corrector. So before you go in with coverage and before you go in with concealing, you want to make sure that you correct the area. And already from a distance, you can see that the darker shade actually blends way better with my skin tone. You want to make sure that you let this sit and dry a little bit to get the most color payoff. And you can go ahead and start working and buffing around the corners. And just go ahead and blend that all out and buff it into your skin. I love to use a sponge. Now with an actual color corrector, you only really need to apply a little bit of product because we're just using that shade to cancel out the darkness that we have underneath our eyes. Already you can see that if I use a product that's just way too light, the darkness peeks through, versus if I even happen to use something slightly darker, it helps to cover any of that darkness that peeks underneath my eyes. Once I apply a little bit of my color correcting, I like to go finish off my base and do my foundation first. And then I'll go in with my coverage concealer. Now my under eyes personally can take a lot of concealer, so I like to apply a lot more. I let that dry just a little bit to get the most color payoff, and then we're just going to go ahead and blend that all through. You can see that when I apply a little bit of color correcting and then my coverage over, it really helps to cancel everything out. Now, if you're someone that personally loves a super bright under eye, then you can go ahead. I use that same exact light shade that I use in the very, very beginning on the other side, on this side of my face. And you can see it's giving brightness, it's giving coverage, and it's getting rid of all of my redness and darkness that peeks through. This way we're fully covered with no dark ashiness peeking through.